vegetarian.
इसमें पूरी है, अच्छा, तो दुनिया है पैकेट में, दुनिया, अच्छा ठीक है, बात नहीं, तो चलिए कुछ लगे।
We started quite early. I was ready when I called him. And the moment he got inside, I started.
So
We took some time on the way.
technical, I have already started technical section,
Okay.
and we will have that. ये तो हमारा पहले का चैम्बर है और आप पहली वो टेक्निकल सेक्शन है और वहाँ पर चलिए। Five languages in the book.
You will be enjoying for a interesting lecture there. Right now, she is here with us as chairperson of the second technical session. I welcome you, madam. And I am here to help her out. The participants will be coming here one by one and presenting their papers. So the first speaker is Bhavna Priya. Please come.
Good morning, all of you. I am Bhavna Priya, research scholar here at the University. Today my topic is the beauty and utility of the natural world. Chitra Banerjee Divakar. Today's session. While Chitra Banerjee Divakar is usually celebrated as a novelist, her property captures the finesse of her diasporic imagination. Like her fiction, her poetry also works on binaries, almost like a rich tapestry of dreams that are layered upon each other. The readers are assaulted with an imbalanced Oriental vision, one that simultaneously becomes the trauma, the nostalgia of diasporic existence. In order to elaborate my critical institution, I have chosen to share one of her poems titled The Mark's Ritual. A superficial reading of the poem shows a vivid description of a ritual performed by an Indian intern. However, a closer reading of the poem reveals the whole lot more. The pace of the poem is chaotic, indicating the diasporic anxiety that forms the central focus of Divakar's work. Furthermore, the poem is laced with images of blue and red, paint that is contrasted against the often it is merely the perception of this itself which gives us pleasure, and this emotional and affective response on our part seem to be crucial to our experience of beauty. So in a way, there is a correlate here to the intrinsic value of nature and ecology. Most often it seems to me we find these things to be beautiful not because of the something else they might bring us, night verses, blue in black say, or a delicacy to be consumed, but because of the way that the forms of these things immediately strike us upon observation. After a careful study of the select poem of Chitra Banerjee Divakaruni, one can find a pattern in all poems. Divakaruni has tried her level best to explore the last with the image of hope and rain in her poems. She has beautifully brought out the problem of ecology and nature in an alien. Her poem explored the theme of the immigration and the problem aroused out of it. Divakaruni's writing in this portion of the poem is not only superior but also richer and more enlightening than the writing of the other two. Apart from her fictional work, Divakaruni is also known for her poetic composition. The corpus of her poetic composition is a rich testimony of her profound thought, fullness, richness of imagination, deep emotional appeal, and seriousness of the purpose. This proposition could be the befitting case of an examination concerning each one of these issues, where it has come together that the thought of character is both external and internal. From Chitra Banerjee, rituals performed by a furious and slow cry and direct in rain and a great coming. The diasporic subject experiences pressure brought about the numerous affiliations, but at the same time is appear to reach in new and fortifying manners. Because of this multiplicity, the page of the poem is shortly indicating the diasporic anxiety that forms the central focus. Chitra Banerjee accomplished her literary career in the three genres such as poetry, novel, and short story. The present article attempts to discuss Divakaruni's key techniques incorporated in her literary works with the help of research carried out and Divakaruni fiction by various researchers. Thank you.
Any queries, questions? Our next speaker is Sagar Kumar Sharma. He will be speaking on the topic from reference to relevance, evolution of the eco-critical concerns in British poetry. Sagar Kumar Sharma, please.
Honorable Chair, distinguished guests, fellow scholars, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Sagar Kumar Sharma. I am a senior research fellowship awardee from the UGC. I am a PhD scholar at Indira Gandhi National Open University, and I am doing my PhD on Atmanirbhar strategies of discipline and discussion. My thesis is on the verge of submission. So, a pretty brief tale of how I made it to this place, all the way from New Delhi. A fellow scholar from the same university shared the CPM of this seminar, and I was looking at the keynote, the concept notes, and I found out that it is really relevant to still talk about nature, ecology, even tangibly, given the kind of pandemic we are suffering from, we are all facing. It really is very pertinent, and I really congratulate beforehand the organizers of this seminar, and I also extend my heartfelt gratitude to them for having me over here. Thank you very much. So the title of my paper is From Reference to Relevance, Evolution of the Eco-critical Concerns in British Poetry. It is my interaction with folklore and mythology that has brought me to this seminar. I recently edited a book titled Writers Speak Volume 1, which is a collection of 35 interviews from collected over a period of a year and a half, which is an interaction with national and international poets. And during that process, course, I realized the changing perceptions towards ecology. How? Because we have been talking about eco-criticism, ecofeminism. So, barring the recent popularity of the term eco-criticism and ecofeminism, we cannot actually claim that this is something new and has not been there in the past. So the concerns have been there very much in the past, and there have been a lot of debates and discussions pertaining to ecology. So what has really evolved during this period, I mean during the course of time, starting from Wordsworth, or even before that, let's go back to Iliad, Odyssey, why not from Homer, Virgil, Dante to the more recent times. The entire evolution, if you trace, you'll see that the concerns of ecology has been more or less the same. But then our approach, our reaction to them has made all the difference. How we react to them, and that is how the narrative of the eco-critical theory and the discourses, the narratives in literature have shaped themselves. So I'm here to talk about the evolution, and in a way I've tried to read little witty, telling that it has changed from reverence to relevance. The eco-critical concerns have changed from reference to relevance. That is, in the initial part, for that matter, if I just define the age and talk about romantic literature, if you see Wordsworth, Shelley, Byron, Blake, Keats for that matter, you'll see that there is a kind of reverence, there is a kind of dedication, there is a kind of divine inspiration that they draw from and that they ascribe to nature. But as you move to more recent poets, let's begin with G.M. Hopkins, who for the most part has been mistaken to be a Victorian poet, and also some of us consider him one of the foremost modernists. And also, if you look at W.B. Yeats, T.S. Eliot's Wasteland for that matter, you'll realize that our reaction to ecology, our reaction to the discourse and debate on ecological concerns has evolved over a period of time. So, my basic premise is that our interaction with the world around us, specifically nature, substantially contributes to the way we are. The all-pervasive impact of nature and its forces has been recorded variously by poets from all across the globe. Barring the popularity of the term eco-poetry, as I already mentioned, which is a relatively recent development, there isn't really much that can confer upon it the tag of a new genre or a new discourse for that matter. However, it can be claimed with some degree of certainty that the discourse pertaining to eco-poetry has evolved over the past few decades. It is exciting to delve into these changing critical paradigms against which nature poetry is studied, understood, and critiqued today. To understand the effect, it is best to understand the cause. One of the primary concerns of this paper, this presentation, therefore, is to present a study of the select literary representations of the interaction of humans with nature and its impact mutually. From a society that largely depended on nature for its sustenance, that took nature as the protector and parisher, that was aware and afraid of the wildness of its forces, we became a society that continues to meddle with the harmony of nature, that tries every way to lure nature into servitude. We have become a society that tries to control its own fate, dictates the terms of life. Unfortunately, the results have been catastrophic. The recent COVID virus is one of the foremost examples of what we have done to the ecology. And this change, this ecological change, is beyond borders, both geographical and metaphorical, and in fact I would say even literary. This paper therefore seeks to discuss three most important major poets from the Romantic period: Wordsworth, Shelley, and G.M. Hopkins. Not all of them from the Romantic period, definitely. Hopkins being an exception. However, I also would endeavor to talk about or incorporate more and more poets during the course of my deliberation. Nature has meant different things to different people. Also, its meaning varies depending on who interprets nature. Wordsworth, for instance, found nature to be a friend, philosopher, and guide. For Shelley, nature was a joyful company. And for a quick reference, we can refer to Ode to the West Wind, which wherein the persona laments the loss of glorious days when he would outstrip and outclass West Wind with its energy and vigor. Various stages of the world of poetry such examples wherein nature acquires the status of symbols. Various stages of, herein I would like to focus on how nature acquires the status of symbols, and through them life experiences are delineated and explained. Various stages of the growth of a tree becomes an allegory for the cycle of life. Falling of leaves is often used to symbolically mean the decay of a human civilization. A barren sea is meant to represent the existential crisis. Another quick example can be taken from Waiting for Godot's bare stage setting. I believe all my fellow scholars are very well aware of the stage setting that I am referring to. The flow of a river represents the compulsory incessant flow of life. A lotus leaf is an excellent example of a person who has an expertise in the art of detachment. This art of detachment and the comparison with lotus leaf can be understood this way. A lotus leaf never allows water to stick to the surface. Likewise, a person who knows the art of detachment, who lives the life of detachment, does not easily and usually allow people's opinions to influence his own ways of thinking. The sky can be a symbol of limitlessness and vastness. Depending on the modes and modes of the poet and the perceiver, it can have multiple meanings. For example, if the mood be joyful, it can mean if the mood be joyful, if the mood be positive, and you're full of optimism, you can interpret the image of sky as something that symbolizes the limitlessness of human potentials. But at the same time, be the mood melancholy, you can represent it, or you will see the limitlessness of sky as the vastness of human miseries. So I'm just talking about how nature images delineated have been ascribed different meanings during the course of time. During the course of time, where poetry, eco-poetry, that is poetry related to nature, has been written. In a way, we all have our own set of meanings that we draw from and also ascribe to nature. In this sense, in this manner, we can say that personal is political. So since I've already been directed to conclude, let's just wind it up, and I'll quickly come to a few other illustrations directly from literature. When we talk of Wordsworth, so my plan of presentation was to talk about Wordsworth, his poetry, his nature images, but then my esteemed panel and my guests and friends are very well aware of what Wordsworth has written, or what Shakespeare for that matter did of Midsummer Night's Dream and Twelfth Night, and also As You Like and how he portrays nature. So I'm not going into details of those descriptions. But quickly I'd like to talk about Keats briefly, because it was not a part of the original plan of this presentation, but still. When I think of romantics, I often think of Keats and how, there is a thing that you have always talked about visual imagery and nature for that matter, and the use of nature in visual imagery. Have you ever heard nature in a poem? Keats is one of the beautiful and one of the best poets wherein you can also not just visualize, you can also hear. I'll give you a quick example. Lamia, because I have a little bit of expertise, I can't call myself an expert per se, but then a little bit of expertise in mythology and folklore. I have contributed a chapter titled Folklore and Memo Culture, which is a part of the MA degree program at Indira National University. So, I am flabbergasted by the way Keats uses mythology and folklore and Hellenism, we all know. So, the depiction of Lamia, you remember, when he says that she was a guardian shape of dazzling hue, vermilion spotted, golden, green and blue, striped like a zebra, freckled like a pal, eyed like a peacock, and all crimson barred, and full of silver moons that as she bred, brighter shone or interred, her gloomier lustrous with her tapestries. This visual imagery, and then again in the Ego of St. Agnes, wherein Milton is retiring to a red chamber, when he says that of all her withered pearls, her hair should be the trees, unclasps her fragrant bodice by degrees, her rich attire creeps rustling to her knees. So you'll have the goosebumps, and you can even listen to the creeping and rustling sound of her bodice, and one by one, and eventual detachment from all her jewels and everything. So, I'll just come to the conclusion of this paper, and concluding, I can say that we may safely conclude this discussion on the note of optimism. Obvious in the works of three poets, Wordsworth, Shelley and Hopkins. This paper actually variously interprets the interaction of these forces, of these poets' interaction with these forces, but I believe the committee will share the paper with you so that you can have a look at it. In the end, I'll just say that the poetry of these three stalwarts registers, reflects, reminisces the lives of people, their value systems, their codes of conduct, their success, their tears, their hopes, their fears, their heartbreaks, their superstitions, their joys, their jest, their quest, and the rest. That has been my time. Thank you.
Very nicely presented this paper from reference to relevance. Thank you very much. And just now we have with us Dr. Devendra Prasad Akela, Professor and Head formerly. Please welcome him. And our next speaker is Khushbu Kumari, and she will be speaking on the topic impact of eco poetry in present scenario.
Poetry lifts the veil from the hidden beauty of the mind by saying, good morning. statement is a satire on the obsession of modern life, so-called progress at the expense of nature. It reveals how increasing industrialization and urbanization is destroying and decreasing its sphere face. In case your legs in nylon, destroy your heels with pylon. Poor is without a soul, away with gender billows, and all the ending billows. And another one is T.S. Eliot's The Wasteland, in which at the end he says, Lata, Priyagam, Damyata, Santi, Santi, Santi. A life laid in the lap of nature is full of calm, serenity, and peace of mind. So the poet suggests that nature should be preserved and nurtured as it is permanent source of joy. Eco-poetical influence and impact are showing in women's activities as planting trees, less use of single-use plastic, harvesting rainwater, cleaning rivers, etc. And at the end, I would like to conclude my paper with few lines from Robert Frost's poem, Stopping by Words on a Showing Evening. The words are lovely, dark, and big, but I have promises to keep, and miles to go before I sleep, and miles to go before I sleep. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Khushbu. And now I invite Priya Sri for speaking on the topic environmentalism